It's so funny because the last few years, I haven't used it. I actually, going into my 40s, had my life kind of just blew up. I almost died a couple times, and I was sick for a long, long time. And so things were even more intense when your body's trying to process what's happening to it, and then all this stimuli is still coming in. You have to figure out how to deal with it. Unfortunately for me, no one else was making a calendar like this, and I couldn't do it anymore. So I went to other means. I went to other calendars. I went to notepads, and I even tried stickies. None of those things worked. I couldn't find a planner out there that actually did what I needed it to do, that kept me organized. And I'm a total technophile. I love tablets, iPads, computers, laptops, and I use them very much for keeping track of my calendar. The more I used digital, the more I didn't have that tactile interaction with my appointments, with my schedule, with my calendar, the more out of control I got, no matter how organized it seemed. I really wanted an experience that coupled the digital with the paper. I also have a very busy life, so I need it to be as streamlined as possible. I need to know what's coming at me when, and to try to keep my mind as clear from clutter as possible. So the Symphony of Life Planner, there's a reason it says life is a symphony, orchestrate in style. One is these cover jackets that we have, and right now we have limited edition designer jackets. I also don't want to have to carry anything that's too bulky. I also don't want to have to worry about having a lot of things in a lot of different places. And it is exactly what it says. Life is like a symphony. So it's the annual calendar on the left, so I can look at the big picture and what do I need to do for the year and for the month and what's coming up to keep me straight. Each month, a list of goals, and then you can write down your achievements. When I look on the right-hand side, that's my daily. It makes me slow down. It makes me center. It makes me stop for a second. And then, of course, I love taking notes. When I take notes, I don't forget things. The other thing that we have that's different from other planners is life management books that could be the fourth pocket on your Symphony of Life Planner. I use this to hold papers that I need to take to meetings and things like that. But the other thing you could put in it is a life management book. One I use often is a fitness planner. Helps me keep track of the water that I need to drink every day, the exercise I do, the foods I eat. I do like to pay attention to that to make sure that my life is in balance. I use the project notes book all the time. It gives you a place to index them, tab them, keep track of action items that you have. But on the meeting notes, I love it because it has 2 pages. It allows you to say who was at a meeting, are there any outcomes for the meeting that you should pay attention to, and then also take notes from the meeting and action items. One that I use quite often is the debt eliminator. So I don't like to have debt. But I have a lot of expenses, as most people do. So as those come in, I work out a plan on how to get rid of them as quickly as possible. So I use that every month to make sure that I'm on track. And it's one of the aspects that I love about the Symphony of Life Planner. The last thing I want to talk about that I personally love is there are vision boards. And this is my book from 2011. Which was the last time I was able to create the line before I got sick. And this was what I had envisioned as my home, because literally everything in my life was going away. And here's what's funny now. The home that I put together on this vision board is the home that I'll have in a few months. So I found that very powerful to go back and find an old book and see what I had envisioned and that it was coming true. I love carrying it with me. I love having it with me. So you're bored in a meeting, you're sitting on a train, you're at the waiting room at the doctor, you can just reinforce your goals or reinforce the life that you want and remind yourself what you're working towards. So remember, life is a symphony. Orchestrate in style.